Hi guys, it's E here. I just want to keep you updated to what's going on with the podcast and also in my life. So I recently decided to stop the podcast for at least for the foreseeable future for a month, probably shorter than that. But I've been going through some weird phases in my life, and I'm not feeling the conversations by myself, and I feel like I'm bringing the podcast down because I'm being more cynical, very naive in the conversations I'm having, and I don't like that. And I also don't want just to half-ass everything. I'd rather have context and have a set system where the conversation could flow naturally for both sides and not just one. And not just act, because I'm making that excuse that the podcast is just people talking, but that's me being lazy and not putting effort into the podcast. So I decided that I want to put effort. By the way, those are my dogs barking right now. But I decided that I don't just want to get the beers here and review them and then just get drunk and then talk, just like go ramble off onto some sad, depressing stuff. Like, I wanted to make this podcast fun, but also be real with y'all when we talk about conversations, and I don't think I'm doing that necessarily this past few podcasts. I feel like I've just been projecting my anger and my depression towards everybody else, and I feel like that's kind of hurting it. What's been going on, what I want to do with the podcast, because initially what I wanted to do is have fun conversations with friends and family and people who I'd never met before, and just drink a beer with them and review beers because I love beers. I love it. So, but the thing is, like, I'm not doing well in that either with the reviews, because before I would normally would have a set things to say about the beer before I even taste the beer, but at least have knowledge prior to what the brewery does and what their cause is and things like that. And I think I want to go back to how I envisioned the podcast to what I wanted it to be, which is fun, and which it's just not always down. There are moments that we're going to be talking about real issues, but I want to be more articulate about things rather than just talk half, out of my ass, basically, right? So, because this last podcast, when I talked to Frankie, I was beyond drunk and I wasn't making any points at all. That's the first time I had to censor myself and to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to speak. So I've learned that I needed to get it out of my own head and realize exactly how I need to go forth after this. So I'm taking a month off or so, I hope, just to, try to make myself feel, get out of this darkness where I'm at right now, It's been going good this past couple of weeks since, I haven't really been doing anything rather than just focusing on me. But I've been trying to have new ideas about the podcast. So right now, I'm going to make a separate YouTube channel for just the beer reviews, at all, in general. They're still going to be on the podcast, but they're going to be a little bit more different now. I am going to make commercials and make skits for the reviews on that channel for the specific beers, and like depending on the context of the beers, if they have some funny context on the beers or a play on words, I'm gonna make commercials for that specifically, and they're gonna be glued in at the beginning of the podcast. So initially what's gonna happen is I'm gonna make the beer reviews and I'm gonna make a little skit for the YouTube channel that I'm making for it's called the Tap House Beer Reviews. I'm posting all the reviews that we made prior, like, to right now, even though they're not edited well, but I'm gonna make it high quality where I'm gonna make it fun for the viewers, and also I wanted it to be where it's structured enough where it makes sense and not just us drinking a beer and be like, whatever bullshit, right? And also, and the thing is on that, it's gonna, before I would have the podcast where I rate the beers and it just goes naturally to a conversation. But now what I want to do is I want to rate the beers with my friends, pause it, and then restructure ourselves so we can go ahead and be ready for the conversation at hand. With the beers, obviously, if we get buzzed, we get buzzed. That's okay. But as long as I have enough bullet points to figure out what to talk about. that's kind of this justice that I kind of want to do for myself and for y'all, for the podcast. Like, make sure I'm able to give my best, even though, you know, I still want it to be natural also. You know, I'm trying to get that mixture in between, but also be engaging and kind of somewhat educational when it comes to the beers that we try out. So basically what I'm trying to say is kind of restructuring the podcast. And I'm doing that in a way where I could at least be more entertaining. And I'm also working on myself, because I don't want to come out and always be in a negative state and talk about just negative shit, especially things that I project out to all of y'all about my life. Like, if I'm going to be negative, I'm going to be upfront about it. I mean, not to say negative, but if I want to talk about how I'm feeling particularly that day, I'll mention it, but I don't want to bring anybody down with me. You know, I want to bring us up together. That's basically what I want to do. I don't want to make anything seem, oh, it's all about me, I'm feeling like shit, drink a beer, listen to my rants about all this crap. No, I'm going to focus on what I need to focus off air. And then obviously I'll talk to you about my life and how everything's been going on. But basically, yeah, I'm just been trying to work through all this shit in my head. Like, the people that I've talked to say it might be because of the quarantine. And yeah, maybe so, but it's a lot of things that are in my head too as well. But I want to make sure that I bring the best I can to the podcast and to the YouTube channels that I'm going to make in this near future. So I have a lot of ideas on the beer reviews. I have a lot of ideas on the structure. And yes, quick shots will be back, and they'll be better than ever. And also, I just want to give justice to my friends who come on that need to discuss stuff and talk about things, you know? So I want to make it better, and I want to make it funner and more engaging, and I want to have different ideas. I had to really step back first and just figure out myself and figure out what I want for my future and how I'm going to proceed. So in that case, I just want to make, basically, I want to live a better life, and I want to be much happier, and I want to be more content of where I am now. Because at the moment prior to this, like I said, I was going through this dark time, and I think I still am. Maybe people might think it's like, oh, you're complaining too much or something, but no, I mean, like, for me, it's been everything's been new to me, and I'm figuring things out. So basically now, what I want to do is just do that, focus on myself real quick, figure out all this negativity, and make sure I turn it into a positivity. So when I come back on the podcast, it'll be more positive, it'll be more fun, engaging, and more entertaining for y'all, because that's what I mainly want to do. And yeah, and like I said, after the quarantine, because I don't know about the guests, some people will come on, but I have a lot of people who want to come on. But like I said, I want to make sure I have it structured enough where the beer review is separate, recorded separately, and paused separately, and then we go into the podcast. So the podcast will have its own channel. Obviously, it's Tap House Podcast, and then the reviews of the beers will be in the Tap House beer reviews. So like Joe Rogan has the clips, JR clips, and his Joe Rogan Experience podcast. It's gonna be like that, but I'm not gonna put clips on that channel. The clips will be posted on the Instagram stories live or Instagram TV. Those will be where I put the clips of the whole podcast. So but the audio version, I'm debating if I should just keep it the podcast rather than the beer review, but then I'm just gonna stick the beer review at the beginning and make it like a transition where, you know, okay, this is just a beer review, and here's a transition to the podcast, or to the discussion we have at hand, or whatever we talk about, you know, at that time. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm planning to do. Again, all of this here, editing and things like that, that's all me. I'm doing everything, video and things like that, all that crap, and like rendering and YouTube channel. Like, I'm doing that while I have a full-time job, while I'm figuring out my life, while I'm doing other stuff also as well, while I work on my health. So I just need to restructure myself into a way where I'm able to do everything more properly. I've been selfish enough where I think that I'm going to be lazy and just stay here all day and not do nothing. So I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to change my mentality to work my ass off to make this into something at least where I am happy of doing it. Because right now, in this past episodes, I wasn't happy. On most of those fucking episodes you saw, sorry about the cursing. That's one thing I have to do too as well. It's not cuss a lot. But most of those episodes, if you've seen this past 5 episodes, I'm depressed, especially the one accepting my emotions. That's where I think I was at the lowest. So I'm glad that I have my friends and family who I have spoken to, and I have felt giving me better advice than I have in a long time. Well, not better advice, but they've given me advice that I needed. And I was gonna make this an emotional, like, oh, my future kids or this and that, but nah, like, I literally just got off of work not that long ago, and I want to make sure I come here speaking out of rawness, you know, like it's just all raw. And I don't want to make it seem like a structured thing, you know, or I do a whole bunch of like, well, here's the bullet points of what I want to talk about. No, it's all at once. It's all in this video, all the things I want to talk about. And but yeah, like, it's just, I want to make sure this podcast is fun for y'all guys, and I want to make sure that the reviews come fun, and because I love creativity, you know, and I love to make sketches, even though the most cliche or dumbest things ever, but for me it's funny. I want to do for what I like to do, you know, what's fun for me. And obviously, if I have criticisms out there, if y'all feel like I need to do something different, obviously I'll listen. I'll try it out, you know. But at the end of the day, I just want this to be fun. I want to drink a lot of beer. Obviously, not a lot outside of the podcast, because I do want to work out and still be healthy. Not to say beer isn't. I mean, if you drink moderately, I think it should be fine, you know. But yeah, so I mean, speaking of beer, I mean, I kind of needed one, you know. I rated this beer a long time ago. I gave it an A, but now that I think of it, it's actually pretty fucking good. No, I'm not buzzed or drunk. I'm really hungry and tired, so I have to still go work out after this. Go probably around 4 miles. Anyways, I'm going off subject. Another thing that I need to stop doing. So this whole thing here is just giving you an upfront information about what I'm going through and what I want this podcast to be. I'm sorry if I haven't been very interactive on the Twitter or on Instagram or on the podcast itself. I just really needed a time to just clear my mind and not worry about anything at all. So right now, literally at this time, I'm uploading the video that I did with Frankie on the Tap House podcast. That's probably the last one you'll see for a while. And on the beer reviews, I'm uploading all the videos of the reviews we have done so far on video to that channel, the Tap House beer reviews. It might not show up yet, so I'm putting on the links below. So I'll keep it updated to let y'all know exactly when you're able to look at it. I'm sure if you give it a day or two, you'll still see it on the YouTube. But I am gonna stick. I will do this during the time off of the podcast. I am gonna keep doing the beer reviews, just the beer reviews, and it's just gonna be the sketches and also the beer reviews, obviously. So for that, I'm able to do for fun, because I'm still not in my own thoughts, because when I had the podcast, I'm by myself. I speak to y'all, but that's my thoughts. That's what's in my head. So I speak negativity. I speak a lot of down. I speak where I'm just down, and I feel like I'm feeling sorry for myself kind of situation. So at least the beer review will be more fun for me, and it will make me happy to do that, especially since I'm doing it for y'all and for myself. So for me, the beer reviews will still be posted up. I have the beers right now already. It's been 2 weeks since I had it, but I am gonna make a commercial out of it this weekend. I hope I'm able to finish it before upcoming Tuesday. I'm hoping. I don't have school this fall. I didn't sign up for school. Again, another thing that's been going through me, because school's kind of been hectic and figuring out what I want to do in my life. But anyways, beer reviews will continue starting from now. I just wanted to let y'all know that the podcast probably won't be on for either a couple weeks or a month. No later than that. I think that should be enough for me to kind of reconstruct myself and like compose myself better, and just, you know, work on myself basically, and obviously just figure out a way to adjust my time properly to make sure everything's correct in my life, and make sure that I am healthy and mentally as well. So I appreciate those who are still here listening, and I appreciate my family and my friends who have been there to support me throughout this. And I now that I think of it, it sounds like, oh, I'm going through some shit. No, everybody in the world's going through some shit, you know. It's just I'm one person that's just kind of speaking on it right now. I mean, everybody is. What the fuck am I saying? Basically, everybody's going through shit, way worse shit than I am. I'm I'm dealing with my own demons, and it just feels good to. I wonder if you can hear the music in the background. Damn, hopefully it's not copyrighted. Anyways, I'm listening to meditation music. But another thing I'm doing is yoga. So all I gotta say is I appreciate it. I'm going through some shit. I'm figuring it out. I'm doing better now. And I'm just hoping after this, when I come back on the podcast, the beer reviews also, which they're gonna come up this week and coming this weekend. This week will be not this week's. Damn it, next week. That's when the first beer review will come out, and I'm gonna put I'm gonna put my 100% on that. Sorry for a lot of shakiness. It's like I'm literally recording on the laptop in front of everything. Anyways, I want to come back better than ever. I want to make sure we have fun with each other. I want to make sure that I'm able to give you the best beer reviews and, actually be known for that. And I want to just have great conversations with my friends, and I want to make sure they are entertained all at the same time while I am happy as well, and I am still mentally having a great time with y'all, which I am. It's just I'm just fighting my inner demons. With that being said, I appreciate it again. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I didn't take too much of your time. I was gonna make this like a 5-minute video. It turned out to 60 minutes. I talk a lot. That's why I do a podcast, because I just don't shut up. And I'm just excited to let y'all know. I'm excited so y'all can see the beer review of what the commercials that I got coming up. It's gonna be recorded on my phone, so the quality will still be the same. It's just more editing and more skits or funny. For me, funny. But I mean, if you have my humor, you're gonna love it. If you don't, you're gonna be like, this guy's cringe. But hey, I'm okay with that too. Anyways, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you soon. Podcast in a month probably, but beer review I will see you soon. That's coming out next week. So cheers.